Yo, what's happening, fellow Marauders? It's your boy Kellz, aka Special K, coming at you one more time with a new exclusive interview here with the Culture Marauders podcast, the show where we maraud on all culture and deliver the goods to you, the masses, also known as the listeners and the supporters. Appreciate y'all tuning in. This is the kickoff for the new format that we're dropping, and like I said, it's a Marauder exclusive, and we got a great kickoff episode for you guys. Joining me today, I have a Florida legend here right before me, University of Florida legend and Florida basketball legend, all in all. Hey, I can pretty much say he's the first big-time athlete we've had on this show. Granted, we've only been rocking for a few episodes, but I'll take it as we can get it. So, with that being said, we're calling this one Mr. Big Shot. And, as you can see, if you recognize his face here on the screen with me, we're going to be marauding on basketball and life. And there's a lot of things that go along with that. So please welcome fellow Marauders, former Florida Mr. Basketball, University of Florida standout point guard and the founder of the Teddy Dupay Basketball Academy, Mr. Teddy Dupay. Hey, welcome, Coach. How you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for having me on. This is cool. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time. And, we're going to have a little fun here. So, all right. So before we get into it, right? All right. We're gonna break you in. That's usually how we do with our guests, and just have a little fun. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to give me your honest answer, all right? Nothing crazy. It's going to be sports related. All right. Your greatest college player of all time, in your opinion?
I never really got to watch him, but Bill Walton was probably the best college player, maybe Kareem. I don't know, from what my dad told me. Best guy I ever played against, probably guys on our own roster, a guy like Udonis Haslem, or even probably better than him was guy Brent Wright, both from Miami High, Miami Senior, played together in high school. One of the best players I've ever been on the court with. He didn't play in the NBA. He played like 15, 16 years overseas. He won 12, 13 championships over there, 6'9", tough, a leader. He's the guy that pops to mind, Brent Wright.
Okay, Brent Wright. So I think in my lifetime, probably the best scorer I've seen, I'd have to say probably Jimmer Fredette, man. That dude could light it up. He could light it up. And in a sense, watching him play reminds me of watching how you played when you were in college. And y'all would just light it up, man, just get after it. And so that's what I think. Bill Walton, I mean, me and you are probably close to the same age, if not the same age. I didn't see him, but I saw highlights. But when he was in college, that dude was a beast. And like you said with Kareem, but from what I can remember, like scoring-wise, just go and get it, I'd probably have to say Jimmer. And so
Jimmer was tough. He had a lot of freedom. I didn't have that kind of freedom in college. I wish I did.
Well, that's cool. So, see, told you, look, you're a fellow Marauder. You answered the question honest and truly, so welcome to the club. So, all right. So, Teddy, you're originally from Fort Myers, right? So you had a legendary high school career coming out of Mariner High School, playing for the Tritons. And so, fellow Marauders, I'm going to read off some of the accolades that this man has. So he is the all-time leading scorer in Florida Prep history, basketball history, period, right? With 3,744 points. McDonald's All-American. He won the three-point shooting contest at the All-American game while being awarded the Good Sportsmanship Award. And that's voted on by his fellow McDonald's All-Americans. So it wasn't just he showed up. He was respected enough throughout his peers that they voted him for that award. Led the nation with 41.5 points per game. And then also, hey, the icing on the top, Florida Mr. Basketball for 97-98. So tell me a little bit about this person here in this picture we got right here.
That looks like a game at the City of Palms Classic, big time Christmas tournament, probably the biggest Christmas tournament, biggest high school tournament there is, period, including the summer. Nothing like the City of Palms. And I can't really see who that's against, but that's at the old Bishop Verot gym, and that's definitely when that is. So it might be a Roger Bacon, Cincinnati team possibly.
All right.
Can't be certain, but.
Wow. So, all right, we're just gonna kick it off and get right into it. So you've been playing basketball probably as long as you can remember, I take it. Where did the love develop?
I love sports. I love competition. My dad, my mom, both that. We're a sports family, no doubt about it. I played basketball. I played baseball. I played roller hockey, was a terrific tennis player. Basically anything you keep score and is competitive, I really thrive at, and that's, my mom made school competitive. Anything that's competitive, it can really get my attention. If it's not competitive, let's just say I was really drawn to sports. Basketball ended up being the one team sport, and I always excelled. I had a lot of God-given ability, but basketball was the one team sport where a single individual really could always control the outcome. You can be a great pitcher, guys make an error, your team doesn't get any runs. You could be a terrific football player, you're only playing half the time, guys drop the ball, they don't block for you.
Right.
Tennis appealed to me because it was all on me, but that got a little lonely, and it's a lot of time out there. Basketball was the one team sport where I could go out there, be around other kids, be a part of a team, but still be pretty much sure we're going to win every time.
Okay. All right. So with that being said, who are your influences growing up? The guys that you looked up to. So for me, I'm 5'10", and my influence, I love Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley is my all-time favorite basketball player of all time, and follow right behind him is Kevin Garnett. So for you, who was that person?
Michael Jordan. I really tried to model my game after Michael Jordan in a lot of respects, but also Isaiah Thomas.
Okay.
Mark Price, Isaiah Thomas, Mark Price a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up in Flint, Michigan, then moved to Fort Myers when my dad got out of school. So it was right when the bad boys were happening.
Oh,
I remember we drafted him, and they made the big come up, their rise. So when I saw that bad boys 30 for 30, I knew every part of it. I lived that. I loved Isaiah Thomas. Okay. And I even moved back and forth with him and Jordan. Mark Price, obviously, we look the same. Terrific player, tough. And
right.
So I always loved him also. But then as I started getting a little bit older and, having the ball a lot, I really have always liked Michael Jordan. And, I was before he even, really started winning the way he did. But when he started developing a jump shot so he could win, so he could beat the Pistons, in that mid-range game, my whole thing was I just wanted to extend that mid-range game beyond the three-point line, and that's where I would thrive. So, shooting pull-up jumpers like you would from 13 feet, I just did that from 30 feet, and that was the game I wanted to develop and work on, and I got pretty good at it. A little ahead of my time. I think had I been doing it now, people would have embraced it instead of telling me I was crazy, but that's all right.
Yeah. So you mentioned the bad boy Pistons and Jordan, and being a Jordan fan and Isaiah Thomas fan, what did you think about, the Last Dance, especially you being a basketball mind, basketball head, hoop head? What did you think about that, what Michael had said about Isaiah and how that played out?
Well, I knew all that. I know both those guys. I know they got a problem. And a big part of that was, Isaiah was kind of like the alpha dog of the league. Really. Mm-hmm. He really was. Even, you remember Magic kind of, I don't want to say cowering, that's the wrong word, towards an alpha, but Isaiah was the man.
Okay.
The baby face. He got his guys to play hard the way he wanted them to play. He won, back to back. They were terrific. And, when he got the snub from that dream team, as we know, that's history now. People don't really remember Isaiah. And it's some of the consequences of little decisions like that. But Jordan made that happen. Jordan became the man. Jordan is the man. You kidding me? There's no comparison to him. Ever. I don't say anybody could be like him. We never saw him walk off losing. You never saw him get to the finals and lose. And can't say the same for anybody else besides him.
Yeah.
But I knew that beef. I didn't really watch The Last Dance. I'm not a real TV guy. I don't watch TV.
How are you the one person in the world who did not see The Last Dance? Man, it was awesome. You just
pieces, and people showed me some, and if I'd go over to somebody's house, they'd be like, "You got to watch this and put it on," and I probably will watch it because I love those stories. And from what I understand, it really told another side of Jordan that a lot of people probably didn't know. Believe it or not, everybody's human. Nobody's perfect.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Everyone knows that, but I just don't really have. I don't have much time. The time I do have, I certainly don't spend it watching TV.
Okay, fair enough. So, all right. Isaiah Thomas, Michael Jordan. I guess everybody wanted to be like Mike. Like I said, for me, I was athletic, but I was big for my size. So, I pat my game out the bar. I love to rebound. Like, I got joy out of rebounding. Like, people got joy out of, like, scoring and stuff, man. That was my thing, defense and rebounding. So, all right. So, we're going to call you Mr. Basketball, right? I got to pay respect, pay homage. So, high school. So, you're at Mariner High. What was that like coming into there? And were your talents, were you still developing, or did you come in already with the stroke, like, you know, you can hit? Like, how did that go?
Well, you always got to keep getting better. I think that's the key. I developed pretty early. I grew a lot in 6th grade. I came in. I'm a little person, so I was a little kid until that year, and I just became a man before everybody else. So I would have been an AAU team dream player, fully grown all the way through puberty, you know, 13-year-old. So the stuff AAU championships are made of. But, you know, I had some hair on my face. I had muscles.
Yeah.
I was a good athlete anyway. So, you know, I was jumping center. You know, there's some funny pictures, you know, where I'm back center, which is just hilarious. But so I really started liking basketball a whole lot. And when it was time to go to high school, I still really hadn't made my mind up whether I was going to pursue baseball or basketball. You know, it was in between. If I was going to really pursue baseball, which, you know, my parents thought my physical attributes, you know, I would have been one of the best athletes in the entire Major League Baseball had I gone that route. Just natural ability. Sometimes you don't get credit for that when you got white skin, you know, you're a heady player, you're the coach's son, that type of stuff, you know, which is fine by me. But I think a lot of people overlook the actual ability God gave me, you know, and I was going to go to the Catholic school and play baseball, Bishop Moreau. Okay. But there was a coach named Tim Maloney out at the big high school, very big, Mariner. And it was going to take some maneuvering, and it's going to have to move out to Cape Coral, which at the time was like a ghost town. It was going to be a big change, and I decided to go for it because I really liked him. And it just happened so that they had a team of a lot of big guys. 3 of them all ended up going to Division I, a 6'11" guy, a 6'8" guy, another 6'8" guy, a 6'5" wing who could really shoot. They ended up going to Florida Atlantic D1. Another one, Fred Atkins, 6'6", high flying, terrific slasher. He ended up going to Bradley. Yeah. So there was a really good team out there, but they just didn't have a point guard. So I was able to slide right in as a freshman, start on the varsity, not really have a lot of concentration on me as far as other teams. Averaged like 20 that year. A lot of that was towards the end of the season, but I could play already, no doubt about it. We got to play in the city of Palms that year. I really showed out. I was really a chance for me on the national scene. Showed I could do as a young kid, but I was physically able to compete with high school juniors and seniors. Again, just luck of the draw. I grew and developed early. Right. So, a lot of lucky breaks, but I worked my tail off. I was really good, probably better than most freshmen, but I continued to get better all the way through, which is I was able to keep on moving on. I think if you think you're good enough, your days of being the best player are numbered.
Right, because you stop improving, or at least looking to improve. So, yeah. So with that, okay, you're making a name for yourself, averaging 20. I think from what I read, it's like 20.3 or something like that your freshman year. And then, time goes on, you're establishing yourself, right? At that point guard position, you got it on lock. And that's a lot of pressure, right? You're winning, you're getting some, you're doing some things on the national level. There's expectation and pressure. Talk to me a little bit about some of that stuff that you went through in those high school years, like, and how you navigated those years, like not only as a student, but also as an athlete and a star athlete at that school. How did that work?
Tim Maloney was great. I mean, the guy was absolutely great, and he still is. He's a great friend and a mentor to this day. Tim was our coach my first 2 years of high school. And then Billy Donovan got the job at Florida. So I was in 10th grade. And I remember watching that press conference, and I was like, dang, I'm planning on going to Duke, or maybe Georgia Tech, because Kenny Anderson, Mark Price, that'd be a pretty slick place to go. But Duke, for sure Duke, Yeah,
Coach K, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, how can you not? But then I remember when Billy got that job at Florida, there was just something about him. He was 29. Coach Maloney, Tim knew him from New York. He was at Marshall, so we were kind of paying attention. Yeah. Talked about him a lot, how, when they put the three-point line in, what Billy did for Rick Pitino. Talking about how he put Pitino on the national stage as a coach because he could play that way. But, right away, as soon as Billy got the job, he was in the gym, and he offered me a scholarship right away. He said, I want you to be my first player. I want to recruit the state. You're highly respected in the state. Everybody knows you can play. If you wait and drag this out and get recruited, which if you want to do, I get it. We'll recruit you hard. But if you would commit early, I think it would make a very uncool choice in terms of going to Florida to play basketball, a cool choice. And we might be able to have you kind of recruit your own team and you pick who you want to come with you. Oh, and that was pretty appealing to me because there's some really good players, in the state and just that idea of being the first guy at Florida as opposed to just another guy somewhere else. So Tim, Coach Maloney, don't show him this. I'm calling him Timmy. Coach Maloney.
Still to this day, right? Still to this day.
Oh, absolutely. But all out of respect. I mean,
right, of course.
We end up leaving Mariner to go up to University of Buffalo to get a couple years of college coaching experience, and he met up with me at Florida my freshman year. So I didn't have a coach my senior year of high school. I was thinking about transferring to Miami High because that's where the guys were. Udonis, Brent Wright. I knew
who was the coach? Who was the coach?
Frank Martin.
There it is. And that's appealing, right? That's really appealing.
Oh yeah, and I knew them real well. I used to travel around with them. I went to the Cayman Islands with them. You know, Miami High would take their team to AAU tournaments, and they would add me, and they were tough, real tough, and we were tough. But I loved those guys, and I knew that was the type of team I wanted to be on at the next level, like the bad boys.
Yeah.
The bad boys, and we were too. We were the toughest team in college basketball. But so I was also thinking about going to Oak Hill. Mount Verde wasn't a thing then. Oak Hill was it. But I was thinking Billy was maybe a little bit nervous about that because, you know, once I get out there, you start getting recruited. You're not controlling that environment of the kid. Anything can happen.
Right.
You know, now that I know how recruiting actually works.
Yeah. Was it a valid concern? Was it a valid concern? Yeah.
He's great. He's with Oklahoma City now.
Yeah.
But he asked his high school coach, Frank Morris, to come out of retirement, move down to Cape Coral, take the job at Mariner, and coach me my last 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And Frank Morris is a legend in New York City. Hubie Brown talks about him all the time. The Van Gundys do. He is the guy that really put in the numbered system, the numbered break, you know, a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5. Used to be 2 guards, 2 forwards, and a center. And it's evolved over time. And I'm sure other people could say that. But he's the one who put that in. And our goal was to get it in, get it up, pass it up the court, never dribble it, and try and score in 4 seconds or less.
That's right, yeah.
4 seconds or less. Put a ton of pressure on the defense. And that's how we played. So, again, another lucky break. I'm playing for a coach who wants to score in 4 seconds. Every shot's a good shot, better than a turnover, shot on goal. And if anybody ever gave any flack, you know, why is Teddy taking so many shots? Why do you let him do that? He was always very, you know, hard in his position because I see him practice it. He's our best shooter. If he could take every shot, that's the best for us. And he didn't allow some of that noise. You know, we average 104 points a game. You know, we had a guy average 24. Ernest Graham averaged 20. You know, we were really, really good, just small after those big guys went off.
Right.
But he taught me a lot about, you know, preparation, how opponents will be viewing me. Never let me off the hook. Never made me feel like I had arrived and got there. Really, really pushed me both physically, challenged me, but even emotionally. You know, in a position where when I went to the next level, I could take the heat.
Yeah.
And you know, like I said, he coached Billy Donovan in high school too. So there was that immediate connection. They knew how to communicate, and so I got a couple of years of really, really good, you know, preparatory work there before going into Florida, so I could come in as a freshman and you know, I don't want to say dominate the game, but you know, be in a position where if a defense or a team didn't prepare for us, they were going to lose, and that made the game very easy on our teammates too.
Okay, so tell me, so you said, you know, you backed it up and you said Billy Donovan came in and recruited you. After what year was that where he came out and did that?
I was in 10th grade.
So you were getting the LeBron treatment like right from the jump because, you know, famously that was when, you know, they started scouting him and all that stuff. So, all right. So
little different. I was not LeBron and Coach Maloney, and they kept me isolated from that as opposed to, you know, LeBron is a generational type athlete and from a marketing standpoint and those types of things. So there's really no comparison there. But you know, those coaches, they get paid a lot of money for one reason, and that's the win. That's the only thing that matters. You know, you can make great men. That's a high school coach's job. That's a supervisor's job. It's a parent's job. Your job at the next level, if you can do those things too, is important. But your job at the college level is to do one thing, win, and it's to find those players. And you know, it was pretty obvious that I was that kind of player.
So how much of a role did your parents play in helping you decide, like, hey, was Florida really the place, or were there some other options on the table? How much did they influence?
Oh yeah, I could have gone anywhere. You know, like I said, I was McDonald's All-American, and you know, I was out on the big circuit, and you know, really earning my stripes. You know, I think again, I had to earn it over and over and over, more so than I think a lot of people probably would. And I was just fine with that. It kept me on my toes. It kept me sharp. People would look at me and think, no way. And then it started happening to them. And then all of a sudden, you really found out what somebody's best was. And they would do anything they could to stop, the annihilation, but there's nothing you could do to stop it. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do.
The annihilation,
there's no answer. There's no answer. You're gonna get 40, 50, 60, average 40, but we blew people out too. I mean, most of the time I didn't play the fourth quarter, and I was on a mission to make a statement literally every single time out there on the court. And I couldn't go out there thinking I was cool, or couldn't go out there at LeBron could go half speed and still be pretty ridiculous. Me at not 100%, just a regular old guy. So, I had to go at it. I was going out there to kill. And, every time I stepped on the court, it didn't matter who was over there. That was my mindset. I was going out there to prove a point.
Yeah. So you felt in your head that, well, maybe unfairly, did you feel like you absolutely had to work that much harder because of your stature and you being a white male and stuff like that in a basketball game, predominantly, African Americans, right? Let's be honest with it. You had to work.
I'm not playing in the little local rinky dinky tournaments where, kid doesn't get playing time on one team. So his dad starts his own team and he's got 6 of his, buddies. I mean, most of the camps I would go to, the big ones, I was the only white guy. If there was another white guy, he was 6'10", 7 foot tall, maybe a couple, which was fine by me. I mean, at the time, it didn't even matter. That's all today talk. Back then, none of that mattered.
That's the question, right? That's
Ball doesn't know what color you are. That's all today stuff. That's all the media riling people up. And I can look back. This is 20 years ago. The type of camps, the stuff they would show us, the people we'd get to meet, the opportunity. To be exposed to these are high school kids. None of us had made it yet. Teaching you how to tie a tie, what silverware goes where, different types of conversations and things like that. Learning financial literacy, the type of opportunities that were open up to us. But and you're thinking, well, sure, these guys are elite athletes. They have something special. But what profession, anywhere, can you climb to the top if you don't have an elite talent or skill? And that's real life. It's real life. But we had a lot of opportunities rolled out for us, and nobody treated me any different because I was white. Could you play? Could you play? But at the same time, you could hear them razzing each other when I was kicking over his butt.
That's all fine and all, but once you start lighting them up, they were probably I'd imagine. Cool. All right. So
kind of like watching a guy get beat up by a girl. Got to be careful saying that.
Unless that girl is like Amanda Nunes or Ronda Rousey or something like that, then you got to just take it. So very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Similar. If you want to get a feel for what it was like, I mean, and it was all good. It was all good. It was, like I said, I see what's going on now.
Miss it, huh? You miss those days, the simpler days, huh?
I mean, I love what I'm doing right now because, I'm working with kids, a lot of kids.
Right.
Most of them are not elite athletes. When you're in that type of environment, everybody around you is spectacular. You start to get this idea that everybody's just spectacular.
Right.
And, the longer you live and the more people you meet, you realize most people are not spectacular. Everybody's just pretty much regular people trying to get along, and trying to cooperate with people, trying to make way to where teamwork really matters, where nobody's good enough to do anything on their own. You really do have to cooperate and get along, and you find somebody you like everything about, let me know. I mean, it sounds storybook. You look hard enough, you're going to find something about anybody you don't like. Get past that, find the stuff you do like, cooperate, see their point of view, and actually make something special happen. And that's why, teaching teamwork and humility and things like that to young kids through sports is so appealing to me. Because I know that that's the actual skill set and the tools that they're going to need to be successful, or like I said, develop that elite skill someday. Something to really move to the top of the world, the top of your industry. Those are the things that you're going to need.
Okay, very cool. Save that though, because we're going to get into the academy. Don't go into it too quick. We'll get to it. So, all right. So you graduated in '98, right? Ready to move on, and life in the swamp. you're up in Gainesville, right? You're up. Billy gets his man, and y'all start building a juggernaut up there. I'm gonna go ahead. I got a shot I'm gonna share here with you. So let me share this. There we go. So, yo, you look mad young in that picture, man, like crazy young. So
19 years old,
man, so 19 years old, right? So this is a picture. This is a shot from the championship game, right? And I remember being I was on my first deployment in the military. I was 20 years old, and I was in Saudi Arabia. And I remember watching this game, and I was like, I hate to say, I love the fact that you could hit, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I was rooting for Michigan State. I'm from Nebraska, so I was rooting. But when you had the ball in your hand, man, like no lead was safe. Like no lead was safe, and it was incredible to watch you, to think back then and have this conversation with you now. I'm talking to the dude I remember watching this game, so it's kind of like I'm kind of starstruck in a sense, man, and just how cool that game was. And I want to know, what was life like once you left, Fort Myers, and you show up in Gainesville? What was life like with that transition?
It was wild because, committing early like that, because the first 2 years, Billy, had 2 years under his belt at Florida before I got there. My junior year, he was coaching, and they didn't really do too well. I think he was trying to revamp the roster. You got to move some guys out, but you got to play the games. So I think that's a delicate thing where you're trying to win, but you're also trying to clean house.
Yeah.
Make room for our guys. And, we just wanted to go to a whole nother level. So there was a lot of, like you said, expectation. Plus there was extra pressure because, here's the University of Florida. It's big time, it's big time sports. They hired a 29, 30-year-old guy. Then he loses a couple years. And then again, who are you putting the trust on, so it could have been a really bad move. So there was a lot of pressure to win. And I think he felt that more than us, but he passed it on. And I just loved it. I thrive, under pressure. I feel like the harder you push anybody, the more you're going to get out of them. If somebody cracks under the pressure when they're older, it's because they didn't practice that as a child. Somebody babied them or
coddled, and they weren't
right. You don't just wake up one day able to assemble cars on a car line. You don't wake up able to fix a spreadsheet. You don't just wake up able to handle pressure. It takes a lot of repetition and practice. And again, that's where you expect my parents just constantly pushing, pushing the envelope, asking me to handle those types of situations and mentally being able to thrive in it. I look at that right there. I mean, that whole run through the tournament, that whole season was incredible. That game was tough. I think I got a hand check foul and then box out foul, I think, before the first TV timeout. Tough. So, Billy, you get 2,000 in the first half. You're not going back in the first half. I remember I was steaming. But we cut it down to 4. I remember we were making a run just like we always did. We got our rotation back. We cut it down to 4 and then had a run-in with Mateen Cleaves. He was tough.
That kid was on fire, man, during that time. And like I said, it could have went either way. And unfortunately, for Florida, it did go the other way. But it was such a good matchup, man. I believe y'all were like the 5th seed that year, and they came in at number 1. And man, y'all looked to shock the world. And it almost happened.
We were preseason number 2 or 3. Some polls number 1. We went out to Maui, and remember we were playing 10 guys, and so we had some trouble with that early on. You had 10 elite All-American type guys. And so you're not getting much playing time. I think I played like 22 minutes a game that year. The other guy at that position played like 18. So, you really give a lot. It sounds good when you win, give up with the team. But when you're in the middle of it or you're not sure if you're going to win, really all you're doing is giving up all your personal chance, to show out.
Yeah.
So we lost some games early on in Maui that we shouldn't have. But then started climbing again. So I think, we were ranked 9th or 10th in the country come tournament. We got a 5 seed.
Right.
With that like a slap in the face. And so, we went right through. We went right through the tournament. I mean, we beat Duke that year. They were loaded. Jay Will.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Dunleavy, Shane Battier, Carlos Boozer.
Was Elton Brand still on that squad at that time?
He was there the year before, him and Corey Maggette. But I think I'm leaving a couple people out even. But that Michigan State team was loaded too. And you got Jason Richardson not playing. You got Zach Randolph not getting any burn. That's where,
which is crazy because, I mean, they went on to have successful careers in their own right. and you're just looking at, you know, just the beginning steps of these guys, man, including yourself. Like, yeah, it was wild, man. And like I said, I remember being in the break room in the transportation office in Saudi Arabia watching this matchup, man. It was wild. So college life, right? So you go from, hey, I'm going home, back and forth, hey, just student athlete life up in Gainesville, right? How eye-opening was that for you?
I mean, it's great. You know, you look at it now, you realize what a small place Gainesville is, but sports are so big. They're so big there. You think you're the center of the universe, you know, and there's all sorts of different type of media inside the campus. They've got almost their own entire ecosystem. And you look around, you see guys like, you know, Jesse Palmer, Aaron Andrews, Izzy Gutierrez, Jeff Darlington. Yeah, I mean, these guys were all in the same exact time, right in this little Florida media ecosystem. So you think it's just the biggest thing in the world. I mean, people love the sports, and football had just took in a little dip right when we were coming in. There's a lot of enthusiasm, so we were really, you know, really, really important, you know, to the campus. But now you go back and you look at what a small pond that was. It's just amazing. I mean, the time of my life. I don't know how you could have more fun. I don't know. Anybody could have a better college experience than I had. I don't know how you could have a better one than that.
So y'all were responsible. So your team, that Florida team, was the first Florida team to make it to the championship.
Yeah.
Correct? Yeah. So, and I mean, and that boosted not only profile, because Florida is predominantly known as a football school. But when y'all showed up, man, y'all changed things. And, you know, later on down the line, yeah, they took care of business. But y'all actually laid the foundation for Coach Donovan to build from there and just keep building and building, man. So hats off for you to be a part of that foundation.
It was cool, man. Yeah, I think we won the SEC back-to-back years. They'd never done that. And then, you know, it just became a real popular thing. And I played my senior year, and we really recruited hard. And I could recruit the guys in a way coaches couldn't. You know, I was a player, so there was no rules for me. And it gave us a big advantage. You know,
you think he knew that when he recruited you, that you could be the face? And
I don't know if he knew that. I think he probably had a hunch. You know, like we talked about at the beginning, winning, very, very important to me. Very, very important. It's like uncomfortable for people to be around me if it's close. You know, like people sometimes think twice. Maybe I should let him win. Maybe this isn't worth it. Really uncomfortable. So I think he knew that, but you know what would have transpired, I'm not sure. I'm not sure any of us knew. We had hoped. You know, you put a lot of faith in something, commit your life to it.
Yes.
But I don't think anybody knew. Look at what he's done. Look what he's done. I don't think anybody knew, you know, it was going to be like that. But you know, some pretty special people around at that time.
Very cool. All right, I'm gonna share another screenshot with you that I'm curious about. I think this is it right here. Let me see. Is this it? That's right. So tell me, what was it like playing for this man right here?
You know, it was great. It was hard. It was hard. He was very demanding, you know, especially on me. And like I said, there was that added pressure. Had we not won right away, we started 4 freshmen my freshman year right out of the gate. 4 freshmen, a sophomore. Brent Wright was a sophomore. No. He was a year ahead of me, but I committed before him, and then him and Major Parker committed after me. So they were the first guys to sign for Billy, but that was after I committed.
Right.
And very demanding, but you know, we were all there for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And, we had, again, very special people, some very powerful mindsets. All the worlds were colliding, but I thought he did a great job, you know, really keeping us on mission. It was us against the world, you know, every day of practice, every lift, every film session. You know, the margin for error was so small, and in a way we kind of felt panicked. You know, if we let any little opportunity slip away to get better, we could let a big opportunity to do something special get away from us. And I think going through an environment like that, I think we might all probably still feel that way, coming so close, you know, losing the championship, being so close. And where did those 3-4 points, where do we let those slip away? You know, was it extra training? Was it a little less clowning? Was it a few more free throws at the end? What was it? What could we have done? And, you know, thinking like that all the time, it's tough to ever let that go.
Oh, yeah.
I've been in the military. I guess I never done that. I appreciate you, by the way.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
But I mean, I think if you had bullets whizzing around you and you had people over here trying to kill you, I think that would change you forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you think you're never going to look at any situation the same way ever again. I don't know how you could, but again, I'm just guessing. I've never been there.
Right.
But going through that time, we treated it like that, you know, that it was that important, and everybody was all in. And I've approached my life from that respect forever, and it's helped me do great, like right now in the good times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's helped me barrel through and survive, and then ultimately thrive through the bad times. So I'm really grateful, you know, for what Coach has done. And we prayed before every practice. We prayed before every game. He was never an evangelist or anything like that, but man, God was at the forefront. We kept God first, despite all of, you know, what we were focused on, that goal. It was like an unsaid, but we said it all the time. God was number one and in control. We put a lot of faith in that. And again, that's just so important to me. You know, you can have big things, but let's not forget what the biggest is. And I think it might be hard to do that sometimes. And he brought guys from different cultures, different upbringings, different races, you know, you name it. We had as many different type of people as you can, and he brought us together, and we love each other. You know, we still do. You know, we loved each other. We were able to sacrifice for each other. And it takes a pretty special leader to get kids at that age who are getting their butt kissed that much, who are that special, to make those types of sacrifices for each other. And I mean, look what he's doing. He's only the coach to ever go and be a great pro coach too. You know,
especially in the situation he's in up there in Oklahoma City, because going into that, it looked like one thing one year, and then flash forward to this year, and it is not what it started out to be. So, hey, that's just a testament to his coaching ability and having, now he's doing it with professional athletes, buying into what he believes in. And, you know, you got Chris Paul, you know, you got all those guys, you know, Steve Adams, all those guys who have been there, you know, well, Chris Paul coming in, but who have been there and coming in, and they're buying into the Billy Donovan, you know, method and idea. And that's a huge testament to him.
Oh, he's revitalized Chris Paul. And I think he probably has put things in perspective. I think for a few years there, we remember CP3 being one of the best point guards in the league, if not the best.
Mm-hmm.
It's clearly not that anymore, and hasn't been for some time. And I think he continued to – it's hard when you get older, man. It's not easy when your body falls apart.
Yeah.
And not that his is, but look, 35 ain't 25.
Yeah, that's true.
So to have him in there, and he's putting him in a position where when he's got it going, manages minutes on intentionally. He's put him in that mentorship role with Shea Gillis.
Yep.
It's tough.
Yeah, and they're winning, man, and it's crazy. And I would dare to say, borderline say, overachieving in a way.
In a big way. When you look at they're like the size of a decent college team. You take Steven Adams off that team, they're small.
They still got Nerlens Noel, right?
What's that?
They still got Nerlens Noel on that roster still, right?
Yeah, but the guy can't play more than 20 minutes a night. You know, if Adams is out, he's a good fill-in. You know, It's tough to play them two together with the way the league is working right now. They've even been going with 3 6-foot guards sometimes when they put Schroeder in there. Now those guys they're terrific. But in the NBA, Shea Gillis and Schroeder aren't really three-point shooters. Chris Paul can make them. You're not going to win with him shooting threes. So to have a team that doesn't stretch the floor, that's not long and athletic on offense or defense, you know, what they're doing with what they've got, I think he's in a great setting. Because he's going to be able to bring these guys along and develop them, which is what he's really, really good at. He's in a small market.
Yes, that's what I was saying.
Durant. Yeah, I mean, that was baloney what Durant did. Yeah. If you're going to leave.
Yeah.
If you're going to say nothing, say nothing. But don't look somebody in the eye and tell them you're staying and then leave at the last minute.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and he did in Westbrook. You could tell how classy Billy is based on the way Westbrook did it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, working with him, they got him taken care of. They did it right. You know, what superstar, MVP, averaging a triple-double, what superstar has been able to gracefully move into a better setting ever?
Without the backlash. And he got love when he came back to Oklahoma City, you know, and they loved him for that because he left the right way, you know. Yeah. So, yeah, that's cool.
That's Billy. Yeah. I wouldn't look at Westbrook, and I don't know him not like that, but I wouldn't look at him out of all those other guys and say he's the one that's going to handle this right.
Yeah.
It's Billy D, man. He's one of a kind. He's a special guy. And I knew it. He was 29 at the time. He was still the same guy. Everybody else didn't know it yet. I just got a chance to meet him early, and you know, our worlds intersected at the right time. So pretty neat. I didn't look at it that way.
it's crazy to look back and, he was the baby Patino coming in, and now he's gray with the hair slicked back and everything. But
they didn't flick it back anymore. He's losing it. Gray and gone. Where's the slick, Coach?
Very cool. You still talk to Coach Donovan?
Yeah, more now than ever. More now than ever. Yeah, we're friends now. I mean, I'm 12 years older today.
Yeah.
And he was when he got the job at Florida, which is crazy to me to think about that.
Just put in perspective, right? Just the age and where you're at now. And that's not that long ago, man. You look at it and that's crazy.
Nuts.
Before we move on to the next topic, would you ever, if he called you up and said, "Hey, Teddy, I need you down in OKC, shooting coach, something on my staff," would you do it?
Oh, we've already talked about it. I told him I'm not going anywhere. He said, "There, is it here? Would you like to be someplace else?" No, I'm where I need to be. I'm making a much bigger impact. I remember when I first started this, I talked to him about that. However long ago this was, getting back into basketball, and he said, NBA easily. College, I mean, it might be tough, but probably not. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like we said, it's about winning.
Right.
But he said, when you look at what me personally, it's like, Teddy, when you look at what you could be for the state of Florida, you're the all-time leading scorer. You still got the records. McDonald's All-American. You committed to me. You committed to the University of Florida as an integrator, which turned out to be a great idea. It set the tone for a dynasty.
Yeah.
The success, the championships, the longevity. If you could do something on the grassroots level, and again, it just made sense. Where now I'm helping thousands of kids. We've worked with thousands of kids here over the last decade, not just in Florida and Puerto Rico too, boys and girls, coaches. We are moving the game forward in this state. And, to be like the most influential person in basketball and in life in this state, and maybe not now, maybe I'll be long gone. But when you look at just the sheer numbers and amount of time I've spent on the court working with kids, the records aren't getting broken. Nobody else can be first. And we're in the process of writing these last bits. And I don't plan on going anywhere soon, but even if God told me it was my time tomorrow, we have made a huge impact for kids, for families, for coaches, for our community. We're changing lives, and we're using the game of basketball to do it. So I'm right where I need to be. I'm happy. I live a humble life. Money's not really that important to me. I got enough to live. Other than that, I've done that. Didn't make me happy. So I'm where I need to be.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, you left Florida. You seem to, pretty much left your mark in Florida. Third in school history with 188 3-pointers made, seventh in a career free throw percentage, tied for 10th in all-time assists, and you are University of Florida's all-time leader in NCAA minutes played, and third in NCAA tournament points scored completely. So, yeah, I think you left your mark, man. I think you did enough, and like you said, you're building here. You're building lives here to go out and you're getting that foundation at a grassroots level, like you said. And and me talking to a former pro athlete, for me, I would be like, hell yeah, I jump at it. Yeah, but when you explained it the way you did, it makes more sense, and I totally get it. So, hey, right on, man. So
I mean, I'm a Christian guy, and I strongly believe this is where God wants me, and I've gone against my hunches in the past, and they haven't worked out well for me. This is where I am right now. That's not to say it couldn't change.
Yeah.
But man, it's too good. It's too good. It's too good.
And you're just getting started, and there's so much potential. So, all right. So I'm gonna go back to the NCAA championship experience. What was that like? Like, I couldn't imagine, right? So you were on the biggest stage in college basketball. What was that game like?
Well, there are certain college environments where the place is so loud, it's so deafening. You couldn't. You're looking right at somebody screaming in their face. You can't hear yourself screaming at them, trying to communicate.
Oh wow!
And it's neat, but in that setting, the place is so big. It's 100,000 people. It's almost windy in there. It's so big. The place isn't built for basketball. And there's like a delay in the cheers. You make a basket, even the bounce of the ball, it's like echoey. And people cheer, and then there's the next level of cheers, and then they're cheering at the same time. They saw it, but the sound doesn't get to you until later. It's really odd. It's really odd. Yeah, you wait for that your whole life. The starting lineups come, and they got the lights off, and you see your signature at midcourt in laser cursive. I mean, that's what it's all about. For me, it's unfortunately a sad memory since we lost.
Yeah.
I tell everybody we were the best losers in America that year. So,
but and the game was so tight, man. Like that also plays into it with the cheering and the noise and stuff, man. I can only imagine. And you got to experience something. And yeah, you say you lost, but you got to experience something that only a small percentage of people get to experience in their life, man. And yeah, win or lose, you still got to be there,
Yeah.
So, I mean, I couldn't imagine. We were supposed to go to the regionals down here in Tampa before COVID kicked off, and I just wanted to experience and just see what that environment was like.
Well, it's different too each round. The first round I think we played up at Wake Forest. My first year, our first round was at Key Arena in Seattle. So here we are in Florida. Went out there and had a tough shot, like not quite a buzzer beater, but a game winner in a deep corner against Weber State in overtime. That was a big thing, to take us to the Sweet 16. Huge moment. Then went down to Phoenix, lost in a buzzer beater. The next year, that was the year we went deep. We were in Wake Forest first. Then our next round was in Syracuse at the Carrier Dome. That's where we played Duke, and that was wild because that's a big dome.
Yeah.
Kind of made for basketball. And that was an amazing game. Gosh, that was amazing. And then that Final Four stuff but that's what we set out to do. And so from that standpoint, we made the uncool choice. We all ended up going to Florida. Every single one of us was being told by people who cared about us. My parents, they supported me, and they kind of went with the flow for that type of thing. But everybody thought I was just out of my mind and crazy. And so I'm glad it worked out, because you go out there and you make a big against the grain decision like that, and it doesn't work out. That probably would stick with you for your whole life. I can't imagine being able to just let that go completely. Yeah. So it was neat that we got to go. And like I said, we did lose. We won in the Final Four. Obviously, we beat North Carolina, but just my way of looking at stuff, and we tried to grow from it and get better. But it's really tough for me to look at that in a positive light, even though it was amazing. Going back on how I feel about it, it's not a happy memory.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get off it now. I enjoyed watching it. Watching you play. Man, I understand. Yeah. So, all right, moving on to something a little bit better. Biggest takeaway from the college experience?
How many good players are really out there?
Okay.
How many good players are really out there?
Okay.
For sure. Just guys you never heard of, guys you didn't know existed. Guys that might have been 6'6" tweener on a team with a point guard that didn't pass, or a slow-paced coach. They find their way into college. They grow another inch or two. They get 4 or 5 years in the weight room. Here's this 22, 23-year-old guy that you never heard of, who's terrific, terrific, grown, strong. You got a team full of those. And I think you see it with these Cinderellas, but it's tough to explain that to kids. A lot of kids don't make it. A lot of kids never learn that lesson. They think they didn't make it and they got shorted or it was unfair. But like I said, these coaches get paid to win. If you're good enough, they will find you. And but the thing is, there's a lot of players a lot better than the kids think.
Okay. All right. So college is done, and life after Florida, University of Florida. So, you didn't get drafted, but you still played some ball, right? So you played in Venezuela, in some other leagues and stuff like that around the world and nationally. Tell us about that experience.
Well, that was great too. So I didn't play my senior year at Florida. I went to Venezuela instead. We started in Phoenix, came out, went down to Venezuela, played great down there, just killing it. Finally had some of that freedom. The pro game, the deeper line really was an advantage for me. A lot of people could make the college three. A lot of people could make the Euro three. But that NBA three was no different to me. And it made me, again, it separated me from the pack. And I really like that. I like the shorter shot clock. I could hit tough shots. which you need. You need people that can make stuff happen at the end of a shot clock with that 24-second shot clock. And then played some in the CBA. I think my first month in the CBA, first week, player of the week, second week, player of the week. Then third week, player of the week, player of the month. Team was 10-0, had a couple triple doubles, a couple 40-point games. And Seattle had just traded Gary Payton. And, I was going to get the 10-day and the call up, and I felt like I was on my way. And then I blew out my ACL. I remember it was a third quarter, and Olden Polynice was there. He was coming too. He was on the other team. Third quarter against Grand Rapids Hoops, and I had 17 points, 17 assists, 0 turnovers, third quarter. And I played anyway. They're like, oh, you shouldn't play. You shouldn't play this game, Teddy. And you going. I was like, it's basketball. We're here, And just doing nothing really, coming through the lane. And my knee popped, and it was like the weirdest pain. But it was my ACL, and that was tough. And so I went back to college. I had 1 semester left. Got my surgery done at Florida, full scholarship. They did my rehab, my surgery, which I thought was pretty classy. Finished up my degree, and then went back and tried to play in Yakima a little bit early, like 6 months early, because I was trying to get in for that next season. I didn't want to miss a whole season, because I missed the beginning of it.
Right.
And I just never quite healed. It never quite healed right. I, had probably 4 or 5 surgeries on my knee that year. And, unfortunately, again, here's, my size. Once I wasn't able to train like I needed to, for one day. I mean, even today, I tell people, they joke, for one day right now, I could be a difference maker in any game. Tomorrow, my knee is swollen. It's going to take me a few days to recover. And it was like that when I was 23, 24. I played a couple seasons. So that was tough for me, because then I could still play. But if it was a game every other day or a game every 2 days, I wasn't able to get better. I wasn't able to get in the gym and get better and really train in between. I was just working to hold on. And that caught up to me. Once you stop, like I tell you, once you stop getting better, and you also, when you're not able to train and get razor sharp, some of the tough shots become bad shots. Some of that, for lack of a better word, feeling invincible because of your preparation, your training. Once that edge goes away a little bit, and you maybe lost a step, and you aren't really literally as sharp. At my size, I really wasn't able to take games over anymore at that top level. And that kind of hurt. And once I realized I wasn't going to, be that type of player, not that I lost interest, but, I was just devastated. Devastated. It was really hard to deal with that. And it's hard to think about it now, but even more so, I've been able to kind of regroup, go out there, live a different type of life, get some business experience, try and start all the way over, meet a lot of people, fall on my face a few times, and, just kind of gather an entire life experience well before I had anticipated doing that. So here I am at a pretty young age, still able to get out there on the court, still play ball. I'm still very vibrant and very, very excited about what I'm doing every day. I'm not an old man.
Right.
Which is nice. I'm able to build this academy with an entire lifetime of experience, whereas I played 10, 15 years in the league. You come out at 35, you still have to gain all that experience, if you want to have a great life after basketball. Money is one thing. You could have a lot of money in the bank, but to have something that really, wakes you up in the morning, keeps you up at night, you wake up thinking about, how can I make this better? What about this kid? What about that kid? How can I help them? So I always say your calling is typically something that as a child you were really good at, you were passionate about. And, just like I said, it wakes you up in the morning. You're thinking about it all the time. It's how you can make a big impact on other people. And I feel like my calling is doing this. And had I not gone through some of the other stuff or that other path, there's no way I would have ended up here. Probably would have been coaching in the pros or coaching in college, which I would have loved that too. I love everything I do. I make the most out of everything. But it would be tough, especially having so many friends that do that. It would be tough for me to see myself, because nobody else has the type of, fulfillment I have, the personal satisfaction. What we're doing is so unique. Nobody else does this anywhere. I haven't seen anybody in the world doing it like we do it. So it's cool. So I'm very grateful.
Cool. I was going to ask you, during that time, when you were, trying to, still be involved with the game of basketball, but it just wasn't happening due to health and all that stuff. How much did you rely on your faith to get you through that time?
Tricky at that time. It's like challenging. I hadn't I always believed in God. My parents had me in church all the time, and that's a great gift. I have God is the biggest and strongest and the creator of everything. That's my worldview. It's how I was raised.
Mhm.
Now, as an adult, I have biblical worldview. I'm in the Bible every day. I really see that as instructions, and I feel like it should be available to kids in school. Maybe not forced down their throat if
Mhm.
kids don't want that or parents don't want that. Um, just like kids don't have to take art if they
Right.
don't want that. But
Maybe
I
like an elective or something. The
yeah,
opportunities
some,
there.
some sort of a professional and that service should be provided there, and a way to pray with kids and for kids when they're down in the dumps. Somebody grows up in a broken home, or somebody that a lot of homes, and maybe God hasn't been put in their life. There is something about somebody putting a hand on your shoulder and praying for you when times are tough.
Mhm.
If you never had somebody do that for you, come on down. We'll do that. It can change. It can change people's life. The power of prayer and what God can do. And the reality is, if you don't have faith in God, then miracles cannot happen for you. They can't happen. Miracles only happen for people that believe. Um, and there's far too many miracles. You hear about them all the time for it all to be a coincidence. So during those tough times, sometimes you get away from that. You grow apart from God. And
Mhm.
when things are really, really bad, that's when you come back and say, "My God, what have I done to deserve this? Please." And He's always there for you. He's always there for you. Talk to the kids today at the end of camp. Sometimes the bigger challenge isn't working with God in the tough times, because if there was a plane going down, I bet you there'd be some atheist people praying to God to help them. It's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Um, it's in the good times, and that's where the challenge is for me, is to continue to be thankful and remember why this is happening, and be grateful for the good times, because when things are good, it's easy to think it's all you. When things are bad, you're looking for God's help or somebody to blame. When things are good, it's important to continue to just honor God, continue to use the gifts that have been given to you to glorify Him. And that's how I live my life, and I'm really happy. Like I said, I'm just really happy, and most people aren't. Most people aren't. I'm not grateful for them not being happy, but I am grateful if they really wanted to know. They really wanted to get their life on a different path. There's no magic pill. There's no big buy-in. There's no lotion, potion, pill, or powder. There's nothing magical about it.
Mhm.
It just starts with a single step, and anybody can do it. And I'd be here to help anybody that wanted to do that. It's not. There's nothing to it. Just got to get started and open a book, read the instructions. And I think a lot of people, the Bible's not for me. It's old dated. A lot of people that bash it haven't opened it up one time. When I read this NLT version,
Mhm.
it's like you're reading regular today talk. There's no thieth, oeth, and all that stuff. That's hard to read. But when you really look in there, you're thinking to yourself, gosh, I hear these sayings all the time. Holy smokes, this is what this motivational person's saying.
Mhm.
Well, Nick Saban says that.
Yeah.
You go right down, and you say, wait a second. It really is just a book of instructions on how to live a good, God loving, people loving, love your neighbor as yourself, have faith in God, have faith in the infinite. Anything is possible with God. And when you make a mistake, God sent His only Son to die in our place so we could really be forgiven. You can forgive yourself. John 3:16.
Mhm.
That's the one everybody puts everywhere. People don't know what it even means. It's a way for you as a human being who cannot understand all this stuff to forgive yourself, because God sent His Son, Jesus, for us.
Mhm.
And people don't believe the story literally. Man, this the message and the whole concept of it all. That is something that can get people's life turned around. And it does all the time. And a lot of people come over eventually. I'm just sad sometimes when I see the coordinated effort to push God away from young kids. And then
Mhm.
you see some of the other stuff that is put in their face, and you're thinking, man, how the people putting the messaging out there and making these rules, do they really have all of our best interests at heart? And I don't think anybody that will take a step back, put their opinions or politics to the side, and take a real look at what's happening. I don't think you can say, yeah, those people have our best interests at heart. The ones that are deciding what goes on the TV.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right with that one. I definitely think you're right with that one. So you were talking about finding your calling, right?
Oh yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the Teddy Dupay Basketball Academy, and I'm gonna go ahead and share this graphic so everybody can get eyes on. And let's see. I think I got it right here. If I'm correct, that is not it. Let's see. There it is. That one at the end. All right. Let me share that. Here we go. Here we go. All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the academy, right? So my son, he just wrapped it up last week. He went for the week, and he loved it, man. And this is how me and you connected. And, he came home every day. The first day he came home, and he said, "Man," he goes, "Coach, man, Coach has done a lot." And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "You better check him out before you go up in there like empty-minded." But he said there was a young man in the back, and he was talking while you were giving instruction. He said you just went down the accolade list on that kid and just shut him down, man. And I think that's great because, like you said, you're teaching these kids too, right? And that's about teaching respect and having class and stuff like that. You don't talk over somebody else when they're talking. And, that's just a piece of the lessons that you learn at the academy. So tell me what you're doing with the Teddy Dupay Basketball Academy.
Well, it is bigger than basketball, and that's funny. Kids are kids.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, sometimes you got to get their attention.
Yes.
Once you have it, you got to keep it, and you got to give them pearls. TDBA is, we're in our 7th year now. We work with kids ages 4 and up. We say 4 to 18, but we got tons of kids in college, a couple in the pros now. They come back all the time, boys and girls. We do training classes 52 weeks a year. I think we're like 326, 327 consecutive weeks. Even with the shutdown, we found places to train. It's just too important not to.
Yes.
We do summer camps. We do 3-on-3 leagues. We do individual lessons. Basically, we just want to, teach the best way to play the game of basketball. Provide them with the skills, the fundamentals, the basketball IQ, and the understanding to go out there and be a contributor or a dominator on any team that they're on. There are a few teams with 5 really great players. If you do the right things, offside rebound, take a pass, make your layups, make your free throws, play hard, you can contribute to any team. And you put it on time, you can dominate on any team. The reality is we teach kids how to be pros, understanding that they most likely are not going to be a professional basketball player. Right. But to be a professional and to carry yourself like a professional.
Exactly.
Whether you're running a business, whether you're applying for your job, whether you're hiring people for a job, whether you're a parent, no matter what you're doing, having a family, a spouse, no matter what you do, and when you take anything you do real serious, give it your best, treat like you're a professional, and you're gonna be a more successful person. And obviously, a lot of our stuff, I don't open the Bible at training. I talk about my passion for God, but I have other stuff for that. I have church leagues. I do different camps and study groups. I teach Sunday school Sunday morning before church. So there's a time for that. And if people want that, I can provide that for them. And I do provide that. But look people in the eye, talking to them, shake somebody's hand, with confidence. People like people that are like them, find common ground, do some listening. You'll be very interesting to people. Treat your neighbor the way you want to be treated. Get respect if you give respect.
Common sense stuff, right? Common sense stuff that we seem to forget about from, as we go along.
Yep, just simple stuff, and we're just repetitive. We do it by example, and what's really happened, it's truly, truly neat. At first, people came in because I played. Now it's a different type of brand. I've been able to reinvent and recreate myself, or I'm a coach, and when people hear I played, they're like, "Oh, wow, that's so cool," but a lot of people have no idea. But even our other coaches now are kids that have come through our program, like Coach Claire. She started as a player. She was 13 years old. She's 21 now, and she's running the show for camps. She's doing all kinds of different stuff. She's getting continued education, learn how to do the spreadsheets and the accounting. She's an entrepreneur kind of at heart, but grew up as a homeschool kid in a very fundamental Christian family. So didn't have PE. Mom said, "Hey, let's give it a try." I didn't have any girls in the program at the time. And here she is several years later, and a lot of our kids are working for us now, whether it's a summer job, doing stuff on the side, different types of marketing. We're helping people find interns other places. One of the kids, Andrew, who played basketball at Florida, is back working as an intern, this summer. So it's neat because we're able to now provide an opportunity beyond, being a player, and even career opportunities through this. So I think what it's going to ultimately be someday, we don't know. It's taken on a life of its own. We're helping the kids. We've done over 7,000 training sessions over the past, 6+ years. It's a lot of time on the court, and I love it. Not a single day have I not wanted to be there. So it's a good deal.
Nice. So you said you've been rocking for 7 years now. Where did the idea come from? Was this just something that's kind of always been in the back of your head, or you're like, let's do it? Where did it come from?
I have wanted to run the Teddy Dupay Basketball Academy I remember practicing as a little kid. I'm thinking of the house, and I was little. It was probably fourth, fifth grade. Wanted to have a basketball academy, but I just thought I was going to play in the NBA, make a couple $100 million, have this big, huge gym with my name all over it, and it didn't go on that path.
Right.
And I tell you, for several years there in between, I didn't start this because I was really locked in to that vision. And it was my grandma who I ended up living with in high school. I moved away from my parents when I was 14, 15, so I could go to that big school. My grandma came down. I lived in that district. And she's passed away now. But I remember, towards the end, she was saying, what are you working so hard? What are you trying to make all this money for? Teddy, once you have all the money in the world, what are you going to do? And the academy. She's like, you still want to do that? And she's like, well, you don't really need all the money in the world to do that. You could start that right now. Mm-hmm. It's funny because that's where mentorship and communication with people you love and that can talk to you freely, just a little simple, seems so obvious, right?
Yeah.
But it just got me to look a different way at the same exact situation. I was like, you know what? Gosh darn it, you're right. I am grinding. I'm traveling every weekend. I'm investing a lot of money. I'm putting a lot at risk. It's stressful. I'm putting other people to big decisions about money all the time. For what? So I can start this basketball academy and help kids. So it didn't take, that's when I had that conversation with Billy, and he explained, this would be the way to go because you could leave this legacy in Florida. Yeah. Nobody's ever done. And you could do it as a prep, as a player. And now if you could do it as an adult and a grassroots, instructor, helping kids, coaches, and most importantly, the volunteer parents, all around. It just validated. Like he was almost waiting for me. Like he couldn't believe he had waited that long for me to bring that to him. So I've always wanted to do this. It's a lot of time in the gym, but that's the real secret. There's no secret drill. There's no secret move. There's no secret shot. You got to be in the gym 12-7-4, 12 months a year, 7 days a week, 4 hours a day, make 500 shots a day, jump your rope every day and be the type of person that just will not quit, make it uncomfortable for other people. Right. To think about beating you. And if you can have that mindset, you're not going to quit no matter what. You're going to do what it takes to win. You're going to work hard even if it is uncomfortable. And if you have that kind of mindset, you're going to be real successful. And some kids do make it in basketball. A lot of it has to do with God-given ability also. Right. But if somebody doesn't have the God-given ability and they do everything else, they're still going to have an incredible high school experience. You do these things, you come through our program, you are going to be amazing. You're going to have that great senior night. You're going to be an all-area player. That I can guarantee. Going on to that next level where coaches get paid to win, a lot of that is God-given also, though. Okay.
Well, hey, from what I've seen and my son, his testimony and, meeting you, man, I think you found your calling. I really do, man. And he enjoyed it. And I just, he's outside working, well, not right now because it's raining, but every other day he's outside. He goes, hey, Coach Teddy showed us this. I was like, oh, yeah? And he showed me a move. I was like, okay. And then, oh, yeah, he showed us, you put your foot up. And I don't want to tell all the trade secrets, but put your foot against the door or a wall. And, and he showed me the shooting motion. And I tried it. And I was like, yo, I can actually shoot. Like I was trying it. And, the motion and, your lead foot a little bit forward and shooting it, all of it, man. And it's just, it's amazing that you've been around the game for so long and played and competed at different levels, but yet it comes back down to the basics and bringing up the youth to move on from there. And hey, I commend you. You could have went a different route, like you said, but this is where you belong. We're happy to have you here, man, and congratulations and on your success and growing this TDBA and look forward to seeing where it's going to go from here.
I appreciate it. Glad you're doing this, and thanks for sending Jackson. I appreciate that too. We got a good thing going. Enjoy it every day, but looking forward to tomorrow also. So appreciate you.
Definitely. So before we break and let you go, where can we find you out there in the social media world and out here in Tampa?
TeddyDupay.com is probably the quickest route right to us. On Instagram, I think it's Teddy_Dupay. Got a couple of Facebook pages, Teddy Dupay. I think the other one is official TDBA or something like that. But you type in Teddy Dupay Basketball Academy and or Teddy Dupay, you'll find all kinds of stuff. We've got a great YouTube channel. Got thousands of videos either on YouTube, but also on our video app, which you get on teddydupay.com. So we're in the midst of rebranding and recreating our program for volunteer coaches. I'm doing coaching clinics and things like that, but we're putting together a program for parents that know a lot or know nothing to do in the driveway. Nice. Or to coach their YMCA team. So things for the volunteer coach, drills, way to organize a practice, way to get kids' attention, way to simplify things and teach the layup. We're working on that right now, and we have all the videos. They're all on there, but somebody'd have to be pretty savvy to search and find them all. So we're just corralling them all, organizing them, putting them in a curriculum form, and that's up. That's up now. It's Coaches Coaching Coaches program. It's really, really good. I think that's going to help a lot of kids and people as well. So just one step at a time, no rush.
All right, very cool. So before we get out of here, one more thing. Final thoughts and shout outs, man. What's your parting shot for the Marauders out there?
My parents are great. Man, they set a great foundation for me. I want to thank, our coaches, Coach Claire, Coach Vid, Coach Andrew, Coach Gonzo, Jordan. We have people that have really bought in. You can't pay a lot. There's not a lot of money in youth sports, unfortunately. There's no TV advertising money in coaching kids, But, you can pay. People can make a basic living, but you got to find people that don't just get the benefit and the money and the paycheck. They get that prize and that reward from what they're able to give, not just what they're able to get. And the kids give you plenty of love back, but man, when you can pass that along and make a serious impact, when you value that, really helping people. And I'm really fortunate that we found those people, and so I want to recognize them also. And then obviously the people that are our church, they've been super duper supportive to allow us to continue to train and things like that. When some of the other gyms, a lot of the other gyms have been either a little too scared, or they disagree with my politics, or they disagree that I'm outspoken about my faith. Sometimes, when you're being a Christian, you don't have much of a leg to stand on when people are prejudiced against you for that. I think had I been out there promoting some other stuff very publicly, we'd be all over people's gyms. They'd want us everywhere. Yeah. That's how I feel. That's why I want to thank our church for sticking to it, sticking with us, providing the kids with an opportunity to play and providing us a place to continue our mission and move forward. So they know who they are. I talk to them every day. But more than anything, the kids and the parents. They're the ones that send their kids out and put a lot of faith and trust in us. And they've been really helpful spreading the word also, leaving great reviews, telling their friends, and reinforcing the stuff we teach the kids. It's been really lucky. So basically everybody. Thank you, man. Thanks for having us on.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for doing it. And that leads to the mind. So, right. So final thoughts, it's never too late, fellow Marauders, to find your passion in life, right? And really hone in on it and focus and push forward with it. And I want to thank my guest, Teddy Dupay, Florida legend, basketball legend, and all around good dude. So appreciate you coming out, man, spending some time with us. And, my shout outs as always is, to the supporters out there, the viewers, people who follow and all that stuff, and everybody, who just rides with the Culture Marauders and keeps giving us a chance and tuning in. Also, I want to give a shout out also to the healthcare workers out there, people out there, doing the work, keeping us safe. The essential workers also, keeping the shelves and everything fully stocked. We need that toilet paper, man. We need all that stuff. Believe it or not, we do. So also the unsung heroes of the world, the garbage disposal people, waste management folks, the people we tend to forget about on the day-to-day, the teachers, school's coming back up. You're going to be in a tough spot, but we appreciate it. And then also, the parents as well. Parents, holding steady, keeping the kids and also the children out there, hey, being resilient. And, just pushing through these things. We tend to forget that what's going on in the world, the kids are affected as well. We just think, oh, they'll be fine. But, there's a lot of things going on with these kids and stuff. And Teddy, you're giving these kids a place to go to kind of blow off that steam and take their mind away from what's going on the day-to-day world. And then I also want to give a shout out to the military out there, still doing the work, still deploying, still doing the things, we need done to keep our nation safe, and so we can enjoy the things that we enjoy in life, and just like basketball and just simple things like that. So with that being said, hey, If anybody has something they want to maraud on, as always, you can hit us up a number of different ways. Hit us up on Instagram at _culture_marauders. Also on Facebook at The Culture Marauders. And then also, if you just want to say, hey, what's up, Kellz? Or, hey, I really enjoyed the interview you did with Teddy. Email us at theculturemarauders@gmail.com. So also, I also want to say, get out and vote. This is important. Regardless of which way you go, just get out and vote and make a difference. And then I want to leave you with our parting shot. One culture, one blood, one love. Be safe out there. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Peace.
Yes, sir.